Hey, I want to talk to you about coloring inside the lines as a metaphor. Do you remember when you were a kid and you were given a picture, little piece of paper? If you're 20 and less, you're probably like, what? Paper? Crayons? What's that? Because you have like a device that you draw. You don't remember that. But we used to have crayons, and we would have this thing called a paper, and we'd have this drawing, and it would be like of a cow or a hippo or a building, and you took a crayon and you give it to the kindergartner, and they crayon and they draw, and you got to stay in the lines. Remember we were told that? Stay in the lines. We're told that from a very young age. Stay in the lines. And it breeds a mindset. The underlying mindset of that is it's safety. It's keep order. Don't be contrarian. Go with the flow. Millions of people are standing in line to get an iPhone 6. Well, you better stand in line to get the iPhone 6. Coloring inside the lines. You know what's interesting about coloring inside the lines is sometimes you look at those pictures of your children or maybe your grandkids or maybe kids maybe you're even a teacher, and sometimes kids or even adults color inside the lines, but it's really messy. But we celebrate it because it's inside the lines. In other words, the objective is not to make a beautiful piece of art with the lines being a sort of a architectural boundaries to hold the glory of your artistic abilities. No, it's simply to make sure that your mechanism, your hand, and your coloring ability stays inside the line. And if you do that, we celebrate it. I'm just wondering about the psychological and philosophical implications of that as we get older. On things like how we do church. No doubt, I am not of an ultra-liberal persuasion, so I actually believe the Church of Jesus Christ, the church that respects the 66 books, there's lines, and we need to stay inside the lines. But I also believe that there's liberty. And I wonder sometimes if the way we live our lives in church is really simply deduced to, as long as we stay inside the lines, we're good. It creates a sort of uniformity and mass production and safety and compliance, and it's a product. We can be proud of that product, and it's not all bad. But sometimes when you color inside the lines, it's messy and ugly, but because it's inside the lines, it's great. And I wonder sometimes if in church circles we've become that teacher and that parent that says, oh, it's a mess inside the lines, but we're inside the lines. We are orthodox, so it's good. I mean, people don't really love each other in the church, or the church isn't really doing what Jesus said it's doing, but we're inside the lines. I wonder what this looks like in parenting. Inevitably, if you have a child or enough children, God gives you that moment in your parenting where all of your lines are kind of blurred. I wonder sometimes if we have these lines with our kids and we want their lives to be colored inside, and so what that means is constraint, and we have a plan for our kids, and again, that's not all bad. I wonder what this looks like for the individual who dreams and they're afraid to follow their dream because they might color outside the lines. I think God made us to be innovators. God's quite the innovator if you look at creation. And I think we're made in His image and we're made to be innovators. So I think there are lines we're supposed to color in with our lives, but I think there's some superimposed lines. And sometimes I think we make a little bit too much of coloring inside the lines, and we celebrate messiness inside the lines rather than the potential of artistic beauty and excellence outside the lines. I've known far too many professionals who never break a rule, but they suck. But they don't break a rule, so they're celebrated. They don't do much good, but they never break a rule. Their contribution to humanity in terms of their influence and transformative presence and the ability to transform others is minimal, but they never break a rule. They never color outside the lines. Am I saying we should color outside the lines? We should sin. We should be disobedient? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to not live in so much fear that our chief goal in life, whether it's as a parent, whether it's in our job, whether it's in the church, whether it's in our organizations, in our city, state, nation, world, where our biggest concern is to make sure we're in the lines. We need to make sure we're in the lines. But we shouldn't be happy if it's messy. We should ask God to give us the ability to pursue excellence and to grow and to esteem. Many implications to this, but I hope you profit from that short meditation. Thank you.